If you're a front-end engineer interviewing at Meta, this video might save you weeks of stress. I studied LeetCode for months, but that's not actually what they asked. Hi everyone, so I'm a front-end engineer and I interviewed at Meta recently. So for my studying, I was prepping LeetCode for about 3 to 6 months on and off. And also for the LeetCode, I ended up not really doing the blind 75 or the grind 75. I ended up doing the top 75 of the Meta's top 3 months, and then I studied system architecture. And I also know that Meta does interview you using the product architecture, and that's usually for full stack engineers. For front end, the recruiter told me that I would be tested on UI architecture and design. Now, there's not that many resources online regarding this, exactly what is asked, and exactly what does it mean. I ended up studying system design because that was the only thing close to what I knew. I also looked into the product architecture videos from cracking FAANG. So let's get started with the tips and what I wish I knew. I chose JavaScript as my language and I didn't get LeetCode styled questions. So what I would suggest to do is to study up on JavaScript principles such as async, event loops, and closures, and many more. If you're going with JavaScript, expect to do a more deep dive into JavaScript related questions. 2. Behavior answers need to be targeted. Know that we all know about the STAR method, which is the situation, the task, the action, and the result. What you really want to do is to tailor your stories and how you reply to the answer. If they ask you a question about leadership or conflict, then make sure that you keep in mind that skill and that you want to demonstrate how you learn or use that skill and you were able to come out on top. I think when they ask these kind of behavioral questions, they're really looking for, do you already demonstrate these skills? So make sure you do. So the tip here is to answer the question with the skill in mind so that you can communicate to them essentially that you do have that skill that they are looking for. 3. Stay professional even if they're chill. I was too casual in my interviews and I think it was kind of just like having a friendly chat with someone. But I think for me, I think it was important to stay professional still. You want to stay focused, but still know like what the goal in mind is. Like be friendly, but you're also here to get the job. So make sure you show that. 4. UI/product architecture. Instead of a classic back-end design system, I was asked how I would design the front end for a component or a feature. So an example of something that you might be asked could be design a comment section that would support editing, deleting, and infinite scroll. The tip here is you want to focus on performance, accessibility, maintainability, and user experience. 5. Not every interviewer will be great. One of my interviewers didn't really seem to be into it, and that's okay, it happens. My tip here is don't let one round throw you off. Prepare for that mentally. 6, and this is the final tip, ask smart questions at the end. The questions I asked were, what's your favorite part at Meta? What does your day-to-day look like? If you could design something at Meta, what would it be? And what do you think can be improved? The tip here is to show a genuine curiosity about the company and the team. Just to recap, if I had known all of these things earlier before my interview, I think it would have definitely turned out different. If you're prepping for front end at Meta or another company, leave your questions below and I'll try to answer them. And if you've already been through this, feel free to drop some tips in the comments below. Let's help each other out.